Did the presumably final Infinity War trailer rock our collective minds? Do we have some Deadpool 2 news? And is there a new Cloak and Dagger trailer? Of course, yes. This is Marvel Movie News!
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Excelsior to you, our Merry Marvellites. This is a giant week because we had a giant trailer and another trailer to watch today for the small screen, which some of us haven't seen yet, so we get to discover that with you guys, and I'm very excited about it because I think Cloak and Dagger looks excellent. This is episode 172, and we are coming to you live from Wakanda during the Infinity War because that is 5 weeks out, 37 days. The countdown is on, and I am so excited. This last trailer warmed all the cockles of my heart. Just every piece of me is just... Now, we are here to tell you why you should be as excited as we are for all the news from all the studios and all things Marvel. You can find us on iTunes at Marvel Movie News. Find us on youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. You can find us on Popcorn Talk's website, popcorntalknetwork.com. Follow us on Twitter at Marvel News PTN or at the Popcorn Talk. At Facebook at facebook.com/Marvel News Show. Follow us, like us, and Facebook's the hardest one. The better yet is to use Twitter. And if you use Twitter, we will all be there. And if you retweet a link to the show whilst we are live, Aunt Manthony in the booth will retweet you.
Oh my god, that trailer was full of so many marvelous characters and people and action sequences. I cannot wait for that film to come out this year. I know my brain's just gonna burst in its skull.
It's just the trailer gave us so little and so much at once, and that's what trailers need to do. And we will talk in length about that trailer. But first, we have a very full panel today. So I would like to introduce the lovely lady to my left. Where are you from? What's your world?
Well, my world is here, Marvel, but you guys have seen me on Box Office Breakdown, Marvel TV Weekly, and currently also on the Jessica Jones After Show.
So Marvel's your bag at AfterBuzz.
Right.
But the TV side,
Yes.
so you're good to talk about Cloak and Dagger because that's kind of your world. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Oh, and also Netflix picks.
And what's your name for the listeners?
Oh, that too. Amy Cassandra Martinez.
And your Twitter for the folks?
You guys are asking beautiful questions. Thank you.
This is all about you.
Just wow. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Birthday, Soch.
My favorite color. Yeah. So you guys can find me on all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ.
Perfect. And longtime friend of the show, like OG friend of the show, since I think since the teens of the show. We're at 172 today. You've been here for a long... Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Like, you feel the actual age when you look it back. Alan Kistler
What's up?
has no further rebuttal. Just that's it. That's all you need. Sir Alan Kistler to you.
Comic book pop culture historian, New York Times bestseller. I will, by the way, give a quick shout out to WonderCon this weekend. I will be there on Friday speaking on the panel What Makes a Villain with psychologist Travis Langley and a few others. Mm-hmm. And I will be in Seattle at the end of the month, March 30th, with doing an author discussion and Q&A. It'll be me and author Kiri Callaghan about her work Alice, A-L-Y-S. And you can always find me on Twitter at Sizzler Kistler. And I've just been writing about comics and the evolution of comics and their morality and the representation we're in and everything for about 10 years now professionally for sites like Wired, MTV.com, Newsarama, Comic Book Resources, The Mary Sue,
He knows comics.
Polygon, a few others.
He does know comics and comics know him.
So welcome back. And as always, Markia all over the internets.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty. That's Markeia MCCARTY. And I am so excited to start talking about this Infinity War trailer here. I got to do the reaction with Hyper RPG, and it was fun, filled room full of people. But now we get into the nit and gritty of it.
Yeah,
and
we get to dive deep.
Looking forward to it. Let's do it.
And where can they find you? You have the Twitter
right
and Instagram.
here.
No, but WonderCon, are you going to be there?
Actually, no, I'm not going to be at
talking about
WonderCon
3D.
this year. I know, right? No, I'm actually not going to do WonderCon this year unless something changes.
In the next week, yeah.
In the next week.
I think I'm
and
just
then
going to be there
will.
Saturday. I'm just doing the one-day pop because big Comic-Con's exhausting enough. This is like a warm-up. This is like the big stretch before SDC breaks my soul.
That's when you know you're getting older. Like,
You
it's just
need
like,
to,
you know what? I'm
mentally
just going to be
prepare.
at WonderCon for the Saturday.
Just gonna massage this
need
liver
to-
out real quick, and then okay, good. But yes, I'll be there Saturday. Alan will be there with a panel on Friday, and
I'll be
Markia-
wandering around. Like you can usually find me at the hotel bar past a certain hour.
Fair,
Like
fair.
that's pretty easy.
Are you doing Big Con?
No.
Just
right
on
now I'm
board.
taking like
She's
a little
wise.
bit
She's gonna
break
feel
from
better in
cons. I will
August
be
than we
doing
will.
San Diego Comic-Con, but
Yes.
just a little bit break from cons. Unless something changes.
Life
Because the
happens.
freelance life is a heck of a life.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? So, until then, we have a very important trailer to watch. So, we're actually going to jump ahead right to the Infinity War trailer, and I would love to watch the trailer with you guys. So, we're going to dive into that trailer and then break it down. So, Aunt Anthony, let's do this thing.
Yes, and we will have to talk over it, so hopefully you've had a chance to see some of this.
Because we cannot legally just watch.
Yes, that is the nature of the beast.
So we got the world upside down, which is indicative of the tone of the movie, followed by a shot that I'm assuming is in Wakanda because of the texture of the floors. Then we have the gorgeous Sanctum Sanctorum. The Space Zone, which was the Tesseract, which we saw him crush down in another trailer being put in the glove.
It is wonderful that a guy as tough as Thanos is really into this bedazzled glove.
He's about it.
Oh, that's
a nice
the
way of looking
delicate
at it.
drop. The,
Yeah, all these tough guys and women
so much
are fighting
finesse.
over jewelry.
oh, the shot we've seen pieces of and just full action Spidey.
This is
And then
nuts.
this.
That's so
this
cool.
With the feet turning into, oh, I'm a rocket now.
Why not? While we're at it. We see a very concerned Scarlet Witch. She stays concerned through all these trailers. This shot of Wakanda where they all arrive. And Vision
Yes.
in the hologram where Shuri's working on Vision is so much implication.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, Vision has a vibranium body in the MCU, so
it makes
that
sense that
absolutely
he-
makes
So-
sense. Yeah,
She's kind of the expert of experts.
yeah.
I mean, if there's anybody that knows vibranium, it's Shuri.
And where do you go for
My
help?
boys.
Wakanda.
Yeah.
The new Hulkbuster.
Now, who do you
looking
think
awesome.
is in the Hulkbuster
Bruce
armor?
Bruce
That's
Banner.
exactly that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
He
He's
bounds
in there.
around. So
Yeah.
I have a theory. We'll open in a second. So I think we've seen that whole arc in the
Man.
trailers, the Banner arc.
And then we
Yeah.
see Titan.
Oh, the first time we see little baby
I would think-
Gamora. Yeah, I think they're on Titan.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then the Black Order for the first time.
Ah.
My boys, yeah!
We see a space bubble from episode 1.
That's the same Crispin's Day speech moment right there,
Yep,
where Black
yep.
Panther just leads everyone into battle.
It looks like Star-Lord and Spider-Man diving through the moon, and then that's the scene we're going to see Hulk bust out of the Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
And then we got the money shot.
Yeah,
Or
this
one
is-
of
Yes.
many money shots.
All it takes is one good person standing against you, Thanos.
He can do this all day.
Oh my God, he's gonna crush Cap. He's gonna crush him so bad.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
And this is one of my favorite parts of the trailer.
The little comedy button.
Yes.
It's a great comedy button, but for me, it's also
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
I personally love when you have two characters that were not just made by the same creator, but by the same creative team. Because these are not just Stan Lee characters meeting; these are both Stan Lee, Steve
Ditko,
Ditko,
man. Yeah.
characters.
And they team
who-
up, whenever they team up, it's fantastic.
Exactly,
Like
like
the
they-
New York stuff with John Mater Jr. with the hot dog stand and Loki issue.
Well, it was like when the Avengers formed; those were all the Jack Kirby, Stan Lee characters
Right.
coming together. Whereas Stephen Strange and Peter Parker were the two weirdo
Yeah.
Steve Ditko characters who just had their own team ups, and the other heroes were like, "Those guys are
Those guys are
weird."
kinda weird. A spider guy and a magic guy?
Yeah, the guy, like, of course he lives on Bleecker Street. Where else
Yeah.
would he live in New York?
Then Bleecker Street is not what Bleecker Street is today. This hipster oasis.
No, now Bleecker Street is where you can get good tattoos and,
And
fake
great
IDs.
shawarma to tie back
Yes.
into the Avengers.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
So
Shawarma.
so there's a few things to break down in that trailer. One of them, while we're talking about that last scene, I love that in his neckline, it looks like the mask is retractable. Because if you look very closely, the ridges of his
Yeah.
suit looks like it's like a Russian nesting doll. So I think that mask comes in and out a la Black Panther. So I think that there's
I
some
believe
Iron
so.
Man, Shuri, Black Panther, little bit of nudge borrowing into the Iron Spider suit. I'm wondering what order that takes place in. We've also got some images from the trailer, and this one, this is the Black Order. It's really dark on our screen, so it's going to be nearly impossible for everyone here to see it. But if you look very closely, and I have the sword of Heimdall is in this trailer, in this shot. So laying
Wow.
between two members of the Black Order, in between Loki, there is a tiny little sword. If you look next to Loki on his right, camera left, there is the sword laying on the ground. So it does not look well for Heimdall or the Asgardians, which has been the theory
Well, I
from
mean-
the set.
Yeah.
Well, because this is them kind of floating.
See,
I
there
can't
it
see
is,
it with
there
the.
it
I
is.
can't
Here,
see it with the
look.
screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look-
it's even darker
Look
in
with
here.
the audience. See right there? I'm pretty sure that's his sword. So I think
Do you
that's...
think it's the sword
I think
though?
it's the sword. Because
Oh
that
my
looks like it's
gosh.
very specifically there.
Oh.
There's no other sword. I feel like that's a very placed thing that happened, and I also feel like this is like from the jump we've been saying that we lost Heimdall and the Asgardians. This to me is confirmation that all of our
Yeah.
theories.
I think it's going to start off with that massacre.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, because we know from just what we see with the trailer is that he has the two stones. He has he has
Space
the
and
Tesseract
power.
and he has power. So that means that he's been on Xandar
Yeah.
and he's taken out our refugees, our
Yeah.
Asgardian refugees. I mean, that's what that means.
What we saw at the end of Guardians, Ragnarok, plus we know this takes place right after all that world. It's right there. Those poor Asgardians.
Man, this is just like, well, not just like, but it reminds me of the feeling when you hit Aliens 3 and then they killed Newt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
we
on
just opened up the
screen.
movie with like, hey, remember that kid you fell in love with?
Remember those things
Remember the
you
cat?
loved?
Dead.
Bye.
Dead.
Hope you had a good time.
Awesome. Reese from frickin' Terminator? Dead.
He won't come back for 4 because we killed him. And then we can get the next shot is of Doctor Strange. Now, these aren't in any order that makes sense because alphabet when I saved them. Doctor Strange.
They're our order.
Yeah,
we're just diving in. This is horrifying
This
to me.
is terrifying.
This is horrifying.
Acupuncture gone awry.
Yeah, where it's obviously some sort of interrogation that's going on. Either that or it's just for, S and Gs.
Yeah,
yeah, it could be-
They're so bad. The Black Order is so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, where's the time stone? Or it could be, you know what? I've never tortured a sorcerer.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
just
see what
curious what you're
happens.
made of, guy.
Yeah, they're
It's
like,
like-
show me how you break out of this.
Do you bleed? No.
And then the next shot is of who is presumably torturing him, which we're not confirmed because, trailers edit creatively.
Yeah.
But it looks to be Ebony Maw, who looks terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's a really interesting
Well, also,
massage.
we know that there's a Lego toy of Ebony Maw out
Right.
now. Yeah.
So this to
Yeah.
me is tying in.
And then
And
for
there's a
him
voice in
doing-
the trailer that sounds like not any of the voices we've heard before. And I'm wondering if it's Ebony Maw. There's like a line that sounds like it's not Thanos. I don't think it's Doctor Strange. Like
Interesting.
I'm not sure what the line says, but it sounds like a
Okay.
different voice. So what were we gonna say?
Man. Well, no, I just I find it terrifying that Ebony Maw then is like, shh.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I hate
Very-
it when villains do that.
very
I hate it so
Voldemort of
much.
him.
Why you gotta be so creepy, noseless?
Oh
Shusher?
my gosh.
It's so Hush from Buffy.
Yes. Yeah.
And Eon001 says Doctor Strange 2 not confirmed. Maybe he dies. I mean, we don't have the next slate. That'd be a very interesting way to just.
I don't see that
stop.
happening.
One and done.
No.
You had your
Oh,
solo.
dude, it's okay. It's gonna
No,
be okay.
no.
It's gonna be okay.
No.
Reality Stone. They can
No.
bring them all back.
Okay.
Everything's
Yeah,
fine.
that's
It's
true.
fine.
That's what I think Nebula's going to do, but I've said this before.
And then we have now in the Comic-Con trailer, we saw Thanos actually throwing a moon at our heroes. I think this is Spidey diving through the moon's rubble. I think this is the after effects of that moment, and it's Spidey dip diving, dodging through that.
Now, can I also point out here though, this little bit of Spidey going through this landscape to me is like that was the unspoken promise of the MCU starting. Of guess what? We will one day have not just movies of these different heroes, but then we will have movies that put them in the other environments that they shouldn't belong in.
Yeah.
Like that one day we would have Spidey in outer space.
Fighting
Outside of, not just outside of New York,
Yes.
But outside
but
of
inside
space.
in outer space.
Man,
Like
the
that's
moon.
the beauty of comic book crossovers.
Because then the
And-
scope can change. He's an underdog from New
Absolutely.
York.
You know, it's like years ago when I was talking about events like Infinity Gauntlet or Final Crisis, where we've got guys like Batman facing
Yeah.
gods. And we were like, do you think they're ever going to do those movies? Like, I mean, maybe one day, who knows?
Here we
and then
are.
Ragnarok and Black Panther and now this, like, yeah, we can do anything.
We can
that's
do
the-
anything with moons now.
Yeah,
Anything.
and that's the cool thing about the setup of the universe is the next thing you have after Part 4 is a Spider-Man movie and a Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Theoretically, so
Yeah.
you've got the most cosmic, the most grounded. So like the cool thing about Iron Man 3 was the PTSD of Tony Stark because they gave him a full arc. Spider-Man is going to go into Homecoming 2 a junior in high school that's also been to space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's going to go into
Yeah.
a new movie being like, I'm so grounded and normal. Oh God, the things
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, and then one part of the trailer that they didn't show us after the moon is like slingshotted into the planet. There's a cut to a moon right next to it, and then you have the Watchers going like, "Woo, that was close!"
Stan Lee just blown out in the moon near Titan.
Like, "Oh, almost got us."
Now, this is one of the cooler shots in the trailer because it shows our team arriving at Wakanda, and if you look closely, it shows more than just Scarlet Witch and Vision in the back. You've got Bruce Banner in the middle. You've got War Machine next to Bruce, and then of course up front you've got Cap and Black Widow. So the whole team goes to Wakanda, and we hadn't really seen that in the trailers yet because this takes a couple seconds longer into the trailer.
Yeah.
So we get some movement as to all of them going. So the assumption is they're hiding Vision there because where else do you put the most at-risk man with an Infinity Stone on his face
Yeah.
than in Wakanda.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to bring these worlds together, and I love that Wakanda is the world we just visited. Black Panther has just come
Yeah.
out, so they're bringing us right back in there. And the moment of Cap meeting a king, the king, is
Well, also Cap and Black Panther have
Their
a long
romance.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have a long
their
history of
bromance
being
is cool.
bros.
Yeah.
And when Cap was leaving the Avengers for the first time in the comics, his immediate nomination for who would replace him was Black Panther. He's like, who else are you going to call? Like,
and you can feel that in this, having them never having met. I just love that Marvel has made these characters so intrinsically true to the comics that you know that history just in the shot. Like we don't
Yeah.
have to explain anything. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
look at that, respect.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
Amy,
boys.
what do you think about all of this?
Well, I think it's interesting because I was brought into the Marvel Universe through movies, more so than comics.
Right.
I'm not as familiar with comics. So when I see all of them together, I mean, with every single interaction that we see in the trailer of all of them, that's when I geek out
Yeah.
yeah.
to my hardest because you're seeing all of your favorite characters all come together. And I mean, I love Black Panther, hey, t-shirt.
Yeah.
And, you know, to be able to see Captain America just interact with, you know, Black Panther, it's amazing. And I love it. I'm so here for it, and I want this movie now.
One of the things that I enjoy about the bromance between Captain America and Black Panther, I mean, you can even take it back to if it's just like small screen or big screen, you can even take it to the 2010 BET Black Panther, where he fights, you know, Captain America, and back in the comics fights Captain America, and that's another one of the reasons why I really enjoy and Christopher Priest's run, like very early on. In the client, he establishes exactly why Black Panther even bothered joining the Avengers. He saw them as a threat.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah,
He wants to
gonna
check things
study,
out.
and broke Captain America's heart.
Yeah.
So I just kind of really like this meetup that we're seeing in the trailer picture because
And
of
then the
that
moment
too.
in the trailer that I get this man a shield just
Yes.
it's like one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
moments.
There you
And
go.
I misspoke when I said meeting. I didn't mean meeting for the first time. I meant like meeting. They obviously Civil War. They were both in.
Yeah.
I also like that they both now have the beards that symbolize they've been through
I've
stuff.
seen stuff, you guys. I
Most
mean,
of them have, yeah, most of them do have beards.
that's what happens when you go to war.
Yeah.
You
I
beard
mean,
up.
yeah.
You don't have time to shave. You're dealing with a lot.
Uncle Steve's gonna take care of some business.
And he's got his sleeves rolled up. No
Yeah.
man's ready to go.
Yeah.
And then what do we got the next? We got one more image, I believe. This is the shot everybody's talking about. This is, people are theorizing it's Vision as Cap. People are theorizing it's his proving he's a skull because the eyes look slightly yellow. I think it's just Cap showing he can do this all day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just Cap. I am curious if, because Marvel trailers have now lied to us a couple times, if there are going to be more stones in that glove when we
Right.
actually see it in the
I
film.
think there's some CGI
yeah.
use here that
Yeah,
hide some things.
because
Yeah.
Ragnarok trailer lied to us in a couple places, so
Yeah.
now I don't trust quite everything.
And then quickly a shot of Thanos in full garb. He's not fresh out of the gym. He is
Right.
worn up, and I love
He
this.
dressed up.
Fresh out of the gym.
He always looks like he's got like one of those broy like.
He's got like bodysuit
Yeah, I work
on.
out in those suits, so when I see Thanos,
It's
like
Sunday Thanos.
yeah, he's just curling a moon, you know,
Sure.
like he's just been to the. So this is a great shot. I can't wait to see Titan. It looks like we see a fair amount of Titan. I think that's gonna be one of the 3 movies that they've teased. And then this is the final shot. We see a shot of Thor with his hand up, and I don't think he's like, you know, experiencing an 80s moment. I think there's a hammer they CGI'd out. I think that
There could be. He
More
could
than
be.
likely to.
I was curious in that shot of Thor calling down lightning if he's forging a new weapon
Yeah.
and sort of imbuing it with power the way Mjolnir was.
I think this is
Wait, he's
Jarnbjorn.
forging it himself without help?
I think he's got the
Maybe.
axe, but he's
Hey,
putting power in it.
He's worked
Okay.
on. Look, when the first time Mjolnir was broken in the comics, Thor went to Pittsburgh by himself, and he reforged it because he heard Pittsburgh was a steel-driving town,
Then he
There
just
you
had to do what he
go.
had to do.
and he just did what he had to do.
There you go.
know,
I
so he
think that's a combination of things. I think that's Jarnbjorn, but he's giving it the god-like abilities that
Right.
Mjolnir had. But they took out
Got it.
Jarnbjorn, which is interesting because he's not like say anything. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
so that is the beautiful Infinity War trailer, which I loved dearly. We also have a poster that came out, which is just so Ragnarok-y that I don't mind. Like, I think it's good to evolve into this universe and take this tone, but the amount of characters in this poster is staggering.
Tony
It's
is
so
looking-
incredible.
Everything.
Tony's looking very Jesus.
Like,
Like, which makes sense because he's the foundation of the MCU,
Mm-hmm.
and he's probably going to die.
I just
Oh.
that's true.
Uh,
Maybe be reborn.
it's the Everybody Dies movie, so
Yep.
everybody dies.
I just love seeing so much. Like, this is 10 years of our life in this one poster. Like, there's
Yeah.
there's just so much experience we've had with these characters, and you can just stare at this thing and just remember
Well,
what it was like seeing them introduced.
Go ahead.
Well, how do you guys feel about not seeing Hawkeye there? Because I know there's been
He's off
mixed-
doing something else.
He's got
Okay.
stuff to
That's
do.
all it is.
He's
See,
got
I
a
was fine with
family.
it, too.
He's got a family.
Yeah.
Like,
That's all it is.
he's at the farm. Which sounds like I'm saying he's dead, but no, he literally has a
Did not
farm.
buy the
Like,
He
farm.
does.
He has a farm.
It's his own.
And
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be a Ronin situation with Hawkeye, that he's going to have a really cool storyline they haven't teased because it's badass. Like,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
all of the movies, like Avengers 1, Hawkeye is a core fixture that, like, it's hard to show that in the trailers because you need that full arc. In Age of Ultron, he's got some of the best lines of dialogue. Like, in Thor, when he first shows up, there's, like, this really powerful moment where it's just him in a freaking shadowy silhouette, and you're
Yeah.
like, ah! He'll get his moment. It's
Yeah.
going to be exciting. It's covert for a reason.
No one's
And
forgotten about Hawkeye.
Nobody.
And nobody's forgotten by teenage Negasonic Warhead.
And we will not ever. But we're going to get to Deadpool in just a second. But first,
Okay.
we have the Empire shots, one of which I know you love
Yes.
dearly. So while we're on Infinity War, we want to quickly flip through these Empire shots that
Yeah.
are all awesome.
They're
Shuri's trying to
absolutely
update that armor right now.
Yeah,
She's staring
the first
at
one that
it.
we're looking at is Tony Stark, and it's got Shuri over his left hand shoulder. And yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
Alan. She's eyeing that suit like, oh, I've upgraded it, but it can be improved. But yeah, flipping through them real quick, and then Doctor Strange, our own Matt Key, and then Scarlet Witch there doing Duckface, and then you have Okoye in the background, and I love the expression on Okoye's face. It's just like laser focused, going to kick this butt,
Yep.
kind of happening. And next one. And of course, we have T'Challa, Black Panther, standing, and he's got his new right hand man, Sebastian Stan, the right hand man.
The White Wolf.
He's got
White
Bucky,
Wolf.
White Wolf. You also have Nebula. She's there. Oh, her expression is like
Strutting on
she's
through.
just getting. And then War Machine, like in the background, floating, ready to cover. And then we have Thor. May he rest in power, because I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna make it out.
Now, the
I don't know if he's
question,
gonna make it
that
out
shot
alive.
of him having his skull crushed. Alternate
right?
theory, what if he's having his face turned to watch Loki die?
There's that alternate theory. He's a Skrull and he gets his skull crushed.
There's a lot of theories, and how cool is that? This movie's 5 weeks out, and we have so many theories.
Yeah.
So many
this,
theories.
This is
We
Age of
don't know
Ultron
the
where
whole
we've been
thing.
spelled out. This is so nice.
Yeah.
And then the last shot is Star-Lord and Spider-Man, which is just the snarkiest duo. I love that little snark off that can go down. Falcon, another. I mean, Anthony Mackie is just. Oh, I love this.
Oh, he's great.
Hulk and Gamora teaming up in green. Every one of these posters is just so much.
Yeah.
And then the one that Marquia showed me that I
Well,
haven't seen yet.
there's two more now.
there's two more?
There's one that's Thanos. Just Thanos, and I believe, I can't tell, I think it's just the two gems in his gauntlet for this one, and this is on the Empire cover. And then the next one, this is the exclusive collectors. This is by Orlando Oracina. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And I adore
It's so
this
cool.
cover. It is so trippy. I
That
mean,
cover went full Kirby.
Yeah, it
it
did.
so did. And then you have all of the Infinity Stones in his gauntlet. So I'm just
That's
like,
where it goes. He's gone
Ooh.
infinity
Yeah.
and beyond.
Yeah.
he's Mr. Infinite War.
I'm very, that I hadn't seen that one. I love that. And now quickly, we have a very cool thing I wanted to give more attention to. A bunch of kids remade the last Infinity War trailer, so it's 2 minutes, but it needs to be seen, and it's so precious, and it represents everything that Marvel is and what we've become as a culture. Check this bad boy out. Have you guys seen this?
No.
Good. I'm showing this to everyone.
Oh.
It's the cutest thing.
A group of remarkable people.
I remember doing this as a kid with action figures. This is the world we live in. And it's just so precious.
Yes, kids.
Look at Thor.
It
Look at him
works.
go.
It
works so
works.
well. Ah,
Yeah.
That they never could.
Oh.
I'm
the
just
hair.
proud of
Yeah.
them. And then they were smart enough to not to try to remake that. I would have flipped through some comics, but this totally plays.
Yes, let's criticize the children.
I'm saying they did a smart thing. I'm saying they did a smart thing.
Know what it's like to lose.
Yeah.
That look, though.
Desperately that you're
Up, Spidey sense, getting it, and I love the use of this window for the bus. It's so good. They did so well.
This is...
The plates are back.
run from it. Destiny still arrives.
Oh.
Right? The use of color is great. Like, they did so many smart choices.
Oh.
Spider-Man, get him!
The fan was on as well.
And he's like elastic band support. Yes, Cap. And the light, look at the light.
Yeah.
Hulkbuster.
They literally dropped him.
Oh, boy.
Fun isn't something one considers.
And the light, once again.
There is some
Like,
real love in
These
this
kids
trailer.
had a blast making this.
Real love.
See, this
And
is
look
what
at-
it's all about.
I love the clip-on glove, and then they bring it back, like the right colors are in there for the Infinity Stones. Like, these kids got to grow up with these movies. Ship battle.
Those are outrageous!
Yeah! Yeah!
Oh, no!
And the cap shirt, like, those kids had a blast making that. And,
Oh
like,
my God.
I know we only have an hour-long show, and that was 2.5 minutes, but it was everything for me. Like, I
Wait,
saw
did
this,
they do-
I
did they do
loved
the
it.
post
Oh,
credits?
there's a button.
Who the hell are you guys?
And there's a Groot! So, I just...
So cute.
That was made by Awesome Ox, who is Amon Sani on Twitter at Awesome Ox. Check those guys out.
That's
I
so
wanted to
fun.
share that love with you guys. 'cause
No, that was
that is so
genius.
much
Thank you for that.
dedication. That,
Yeah.
like, those kids went for
That
it.
was genius.
And speaking of love, Deadpool 2.
So cute.
Yay!
That was so cute.
Yeah, that was everything to me. It needed to be shared.
That was
Deadpool 2 had a lot of test screening rumors, and I've talked about it on my Insta-review channel. We've talked about it on Heroes. We've talked about it everywhere. Those rumors were not... It was a guy. It was a dude that went to a screening that broke an NDA, and comedy's subjective, and so many people have been like up in arms because it's not done yet, and the test screenings have gone well. So the fact that there's so much bad press, they actually talked to Brianna Hildebrand, who's obviously a Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She spoke to Screen Geek and said, quote, "No, it was nothing that had gone wrong. I think it's a common misconception too, that people think that reshoots are to fix things that people didn't like. A lot of the time reshoots are to add more of the things that people loved. Filmmakers watch their films again and again and are like, oh, better fix that. I don't know how much people can say about that because that's the filmmaking process." She also said, quote, "Usually films hate it when you talk about their reshoots solely because people think it's because the film was bad for this test audience, but it was all good." Test audiences are test audiences. They're not audiences.
Yeah.
You start a movie, like there's a 5-hour cut, 4-hour cut, 2.5-hour cut. You punch up things, you take them down. Like that's how movies work. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet.
Your first draft was not great. How dare you?
Publish. No! Like it's not write in pencil.
Yeah, and I'll let our audience know that Mama Jondrow
Mm-hmm.
is in the chat room, and she says that was like the movies that Coy used to make as a kid.
Yes, it was, and that's why I loved it. Hi, Mom. I made those so much as a kid.
No, I did similar
It's
things.
very important.
Yeah.
Both in action figure form and in live action, and then I'd combine them, and it didn't go well because I was like, I'm little. But yeah, I think that Deadpool, just don't listen to the rumors. It's gonna be what it is. I'm not saying it's gonna be great, but I am. And I am saying that wait until it's done before you kind of give it anything. Like, it's
Yeah.
coming out in a month. Stop assuming. So,
I'm gonna see it anyway.
yeah,
so,
no matter what.
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna be fun.
don't let the bad rumors taint your vision. Go in naked, enjoy the thing. And now, speaking of...
Yeah,
our-
you heard him.
Yeah,
Go in naked.
and continuing on.
And moving
Not
right
even
along,
commenting on
it's an
it.
expression I've had forever that seems more inappropriate than it is, but like, don't go in with preconceived
No, I
notions
get
or
it.
expecting too much.
No, we
No, I
totally
get
get
it.
it.
Okay, good.
We're gonna,
Yeah.
we're
That's
gonna
fine.
Speaking
Going
of
naked.
going in
We're
naked,
moving on.
MVMT watches have been a sponsor of our show for quite some time, and we actually rock them in regular life. We found out they were rocking us for this month, and I just happened to be having them on because we just have them on because I wear these all the time. I own many, and they've sponsored our show, which is lovely when you have a sponsor you actually just purchase separate on your own. They've been great to us, and they've now moved from just watches to watches and sunglasses, and they have so many different styles and things you can do with them, just like their watches. There's different bands, there's different looks, there's different shapes, and instead of spending like $5 on a pair you're embarrassed to wear or $200 on a pair that you might lose because that's what sunglasses do, that happens. They have sunglasses starting at $70 and they're fantastic. They look like $400 shades, but they won't break the bank just like their watches. And it's summer, like now is the time, especially if you live in California, you need sunglasses and it's good for your eyes. Protect yourself. So I gotta say that these guys, if their sunglasses, which I haven't gotten a chance to wear yet, but they're coming to us, are half as good as their watches, then I have a new sunglass company. So I'm very excited they're moving on to that. These guys have been nothing but great to us. And if you go to mvmt.com/Marvel, they will give you 15% off plus free shipping on anything. So 15% off and free shipping at mvmt.com/Marvel. These guys are great. Give us business. They're good people. So
Yes.
moving on to more news. We also have a Cloak and Dagger trailer we would love to watch with you guys. We have a lot of trailers today, not a lot of news other than trailers, but let's watch this bad boy for the first time.
First, we look at the past. New Orleans is a roller coaster of destruction.
Can we turn it up a little?
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Fire, famine, disease, war.
gives you a bit of the world that's going
It
on
always
for
came
Cloak
down
and
to
Dagger.
two people. The divine pairing.
I really enjoy that shot.
This show looks so good.
I have to be perfect. Like I have to do everything right.
To go the other way.
I like that they actually flipped the social status of
To
Cloak
between
and
the two.
Dagger.
Yeah, I thought that was really smart.
And everything I have, I've had to steal.
There's something about fear that pushes me. That's my whole life.
Worth noting, we can't talk because we're in this trailer. Like, that's how good this trailer is.
I think we need to talk.
I gotta say, Runaways
Yes,
was a little
touch.
tepid for me, but
Shake those bones.
this looks like it's got a little more intensity to it.
Assess our limits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's
It's
going to
the
have
same
that
as it
edge
was for
that
all the
Cloak
others.
and Dagger needs.
And I love the use of Roxanne so prominently because that's such a big part of the characters and the comics.
And we've only had it hinted in the MCU movies.
And their powers look great. They don't look like they're shooting for budget. They look like they're shooting
Yeah.
for, like, you know, they actually did it.
She actually
Yeah.
has a light dagger as opposed to a crystal.
Right.
Right.
And his powers look organic and also terrifying, and they look like they're struggling with their powers and, like, each other, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, and I like that one shot that they had where it looked like he transported down the alleyway. I hope that they show us the dimension that he goes to when he
Yes.
does, and they just only have to show us that once.
Right,
Like
or
have him
second
be
season, have it
transporting,
allude to it.
right? Have him
Just a
be
little.
transporting around.
I mean, because so you don't know the comics, so how do you feel like with this trailer and what you've seen of Cloak and Dagger so far?
Well, it looks good. I like that it's coming to freeform because, and I talked about this on Marvel TV Weekly, that sometimes teenagers don't think that comic books or Marvel related things or DC things are cool, which to me that's crazy. But I like that they're bringing this kind of, Marvel universe to freeform. So yeah, like it looks cool to me, and it looks not cheap at all. Like
Yeah,
it looks
it doesn't
Yeah.
feel
really
like
good.
when Smallville had to
Yeah.
be really creative with their power set. It was always like, ugh. Like
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
like that they're throwing some money at the show, and I personally loved Runaways, and I loved the way it shaped the characters and gave you longer arcs and more time with each character. And having two characters on a TV show gives you even more time to invest in these
Yeah.
two versus the 5/10, depending on how you saw the show.
Right.
So I really like that we have a Cloak and a Dagger that just from 4 trailers under 2 minutes, I'm so invested in.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we've met them for 8 minutes, and I'm like, I'd like to know more.
Yeah, and this and the last trailer, like I think actually give you a good flavor for the show
Absolutely.
and the characters. Whereas the first one was such a teaser, unless
Yeah.
you knew the comic, I don't think it really made.
And that's cool that they gave us that
impact.
for the fans to be
Yeah.
excited because we're the ones they need to hype first.
Right.
And then
Right.
as we go along, it hasn't gotten to that point where it's like, ooh, now that they've shown me too much, I'm not interested, which does happen. Like sometimes you get to a point where you're like, this isn't for me. I'm still really in, and the world looks really dark and gritty like
Right.
Cloak and Dagger need to be.
Yeah. So something that I'm just going by this trailer also is like I enjoy that they're going to invest time in the outside world with things. Like something that I really enjoyed Runaways, but something that I really thought with the Runaways is that people already kind of feel like they know what LA life is. And I'm going to say that they did really good with showing how it is in Brentwood. Like with this, I feel like they are really going to show us how this particular world is. And I think it's
Absolutely.
going to be like the
Right.
darker, grittier side of just everything.
And like what
Yeah.
we've seen with Runaways, I think these shows can go very well together. And I think it's
Yeah.
really cool that we're
Yeah.
building such a strong universe that you can be like, oh, that's Brentwood. Oh, this is the hood. Like,
Yeah.
And that feels like a universe, even though they're on different networks. Because Marvel has such a good creative force. And I love
Yeah.
Smallville. I'm not trashing Smallville. It was just the budget wasn't there
Yeah.
yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. My boy Brian was
was a long
was
time
script
ago.
editor there, like for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
which I refer to as the badass seasons because that's when we got Doomsday, Zod,
Yeah,
and
man, they went for
Darkseid.
it. Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome.
My buddy Sam was Doomsday, and it was the coolest thing
No,
to see. Like,
Sam's. I met him very briefly at a convention. I immediately told him, like, dude, that was the best version of Doomsday
was
he had
so good.
He had a great backstory. He had pathos.
interesting.
He had a personality. It was awesome.
Smallville was way ahead of its time. It's incredible. I was just saying they couldn't do the things that we can do now.
Yeah,
which they're,
and they knew
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of things that are going to be incredible and surprise you, Captain Marvel. I am very excited for this movie.
My lady.
It is happening between 3 and 4, Infinity War, whatever they're calling for, and it is going to be a game changer. It's set in the 90s. We're going to see a sprinkles of what the Marvel world was
Nick
before we
Fury
even got
will.
there.
Nick Fury will have his eye.
Eye patch origins.
Wow.
Very
It's like, will
excited.
he lose the eye during Captain Marvel? I hope so.
The one thing Captain Marvel won't have is DeWanda Wise.
No, it will not.
We lost her to
apparently.
scheduling conflicts, which is a shame because she's a fantastic actress.
Yeah, but you know, it's okay because she's doing so awesomely, and she got picked up for a second season on Netflix.
Right.
This was a this was a good problem for her to have.
Yeah.
You know, so so she's got to have it coming out, you know, season 2, awesome. I wonder though, with this particular actress and Leshawna Lynch, I don't know anything with her. I know that she's on Still Star-Crossed, this ABC period drama, and Shonda Rhimes did that.
That's a great vote of confidence.
Exactly.
Shonda Rhimes says you're good.
Shonda Rhimes
You're
had
good.
her, and it was like one of the leads. It was her and somebody else, Wade Briggs, if anybody knows him.
Shonda Rhimes is one of those people like Aaron Sorkin. Like if you can do an Aaron Sorkin show, like Shonda
Right.
Rhimes is like, oh,
Then
I
you can
trust
do
you.
anything.
Yeah, I like trust you, and I don't know her work, but Shonda Rhimes says she's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, that's
Is she still going to be Monica Rambeau? And even that was just a huge rumor that we were like, oh, it's going to be Monica Rambeau.
don't know.
We don't know.
and I
We
don't think
know.
so personally because
Yeah.
of how late they're restructuring it. I feel like Monica Rambeau needs a lot of screen time, and I'm not sure what that means by recasting, or if she is because they need her available for a lot more days than DeWanda Wise could do. Because there was a scheduling conflict we hear.
Then,
So
yeah.
we'll see. And speaking of a great casting choices, Annabella, I don't know how to say her last name, Suara? Annabella Suara, fantastic actress from The Sopranos and so many great shows, is in Luke Cage 2. And Luke Cage 2 has the potential to be even more than Luke Cage 1 was, because if you cast this woman as the villain, you're not going to kill her off halfway through. You learn a lesson.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
cottonmouth us. You do not do that again, because she's fantastic. And I would love to see a gritty criminal underbelly story. Luke Cage has so many villains, you can really work with that. And the Netflix world they've built, you bring back an incredible score, you give me some more Jadena, you give me some soundtrack beats, you give me actresses like this. I want that show, and it looks like we're getting it. So I've never been more excited for this Netflix world going forward, because season 2s are just learning from season 1s and going. So I'm excited for Luke Cage 2.
Yeah, and it would be pretty awesome to have her go hand in hand with Mariah. Like, so she's a harder criminal element that like Mariah was. And I think that might be a really good dynamic. Maybe they're butting heads at the beginning, and then Luke Cage becomes a problem for both of them. So then what happens when politics and criminals go hand in hand together? We have well, life happens.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
just love that Netflix Marvel is building up this world of various women crime lords.
Yeah, I really like that, because
Yeah.
I loved Cottonmouth. That was the thing that really I love
No, he was
Mahershala Ali,
fantastic,
and
and
I
they
wanted.
should not have killed him
That's
off
what I'm
too
saying. I
early.
wanted
Yeah.
more of him to set up the Kingpin we
I
got by
agree.
the end.
I
So when it
agree.
happened, I was like, what a waste of her.
Yeah,
No,
why
I
did they
agree.
do Diamondback when they had Mariah
agree.
She was
right
there the whole time.
Yeah.
Diamondback should have been
Yeah.
an enforcer, not this whole
Yeah.
thing that
So,
was.
I agree.
Okay,
This
but
gives me
that's a
hope.
whole
I
other
agree.
show.
This gives me hope about her. So I'm really
Whole
hoping
other
that's what
show
season
there.
2 is. And also in the world of casting, Venom has added actress Sope Aluko. And I do not know her work, but she's in Bloodline and Graceland, 2 shows that have been on my list of things to watch for a very long time. There's just so much content, to be very honest with you. But these shows, a lot of people have said are fantastic. She played the shaman in Black Panther. So I'm very curious what she does in a broader scope in Venom, because I imagine this is going to be a bigger part. I'm excited for Venom, as you guys all know. There are also rumors that Venom isn't going to have the Venom symbiote in it very much. I don't know that rumors can be true at this point, because I don't think people have seen it. But even if they are, it's a character study on a very interesting character. I'd rather it not be 90 minutes of bad CGI and a little bit of Eddie Brock. I'd rather know what fuels this creature, because that's the interesting about the symbiote, is that it's a relationship that's gone awry. I'd like to see that movie. So them adding cast members this late in the game, it sounds like the reshoots are growing the film. So I'm excited.
Yeah, well, that's good. Like with what the actress Teenage Negasonic Warhead was saying,
Yeah.
reshoots are not a bad thing. It's
No,
let's add
it's
more
listening.
in.
Give
yes,
us
we
more.
hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us
Yes.
more, feed us more.
Yeah.
So there's that. Although I will have to differ with you on this.
I know.
coin.
Not
I know.
caring about Venom?
Yeah, well, no, well, it's
stand
like
strong.
if
I'll
a
stand high and
movie
strong.
if a movie's called Venom, I want Venom.
I get it.
I need
I
me
get
some Venom in there.
I'm cool if there's a third act Venom. I am A-okay
Okay.
with learning about Eddie Brock and then struggling to understand why he loves the symbiote so much, and then having that. I want it to be like a demon in a bottle. I want it to be like
Okay.
the struggle of a relationship that is within you.
Yeah, I can see the struggle of Tom Hardy. I'm just saying, don't
You want a
call
lot of
it
Venom.
don't call it Venom.
can
if
call
I
it
don't
Eddie
if I don't
Brock.
get me Venom.
So we'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah. Amy, how do you
Well,
feel about this?
Venom didn't look super amazingly interesting to me, but I would like to see a little bit of substance underneath Venom. So I agree with you, Coy, but I do kind of want it earlier than the third act. So a
again-
happy medium.
Right.
A happy medium, but
Right.
I'm game for it.
47 minutes in.
Yeah.
So
30.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious where this lands, what goes on.
Yeah.
But that is all the news except for some really cool live action news, as in our life action news. theme parks are up in their superhero stuff. Theme parks are adding so much goodness.
The Marvel Live
Yeah.
thing. Yes.
So Disney parks are adding a ton of really cool stuff. Avengers and other superheroes are going to assemble in new themed areas at Disneyland Resort, Disneyland Paris, and at Hong Kong Disneyland. So this melding of Disney and the superhero world is becoming more and more of a thing. We'll tweet out pictures because they look really cool. We just found out this was happening today. I really am jealous of kids growing up right now because they get to meet Cap, and you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like they get to have the moment where like I met the Red Power Ranger and it changed my life. This gets to be Cap for them. Like that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Good job, Disney. You're making kids' heroes real, and that's all we can do with these characters. It's amazing. And speaking of making heroes real, we have a fan art contest going on right now, Marvellites.
Yes.
We are at 172 today. We want to have a full-on fan art contest for episode 175. So you've got just under 3 weeks because we're going to have an anniversary episode. We're going to make it all special and fun. We're going to have a holographic cover, I hope, by Rob Liefeld, a bunch of variants. I want you guys to do Markia and I up in whatever manner. Throw Alan in there. Throw some Matt Key's astral form in there because he's still
throw some
around.
Matt Cook in there if you
So
want
yeah,
to.
Matt Cook.
Yeah.
I really just want to bring you guys in because this is by fans for fans. We do the show for you guys, and we love your art. It's really impressive always. So kicking off the art spectacle, we had this beautiful set of the three of us and Markia as Shuri. Look at that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, if you see that, this is by Quinn Soares Harris, at Q Soares Harris. That's Soares Harris. And it's me, Shuri. And I have Panther blasters and a giant smile and my hair. My hair is everywhere, and I'm just, it's just filled with positivity.
I love how happy you are.
I'm so happy.
You got
so
these
happy
great
with this
curve
picture.
designs in your legs.
I know.
Yeah, you're full Wakanda right there.
Yeah, this
gorgeous.
is absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna probably turn it to my avatar for a little bit.
Yeah, it's
for
pretty
fun
fantastic.
on my Twitter.
It's
but
my
yeah.
Facebook profile picture, mine. So I
Yeah.
love this. And then look at me go. Now, not only am I Deadpool, which is fantastic, but my son is in this photo. Spidey Cat made the cut. My son, Spidey, is in my arm, as he often is, and I love that I randomly have a super soaker because the mischief in my face is strong. And I love everything about this. The energy in your art is so good, Harris. Like, I thank you. I really appreciate it.
You are
and
so
then,
talented.
this is great,
Oh my
right?
God, that's
and
amazing.
then Mr. Matt Key in astral form.
Nice.
Yes,
Matt
one eye
Key,
open.
You know, he started this show, he began it, and he watches over us still. So I love that Matt is full strange here, with one eye open.
With one eye
And
open.
then I love that you sent us these separate because then together, boom, we got Marvel movie news. And I think it's so cool to have fans show us how they see us. So that's what we want to do for 175. Please send us your stuff. There we are all together. It's some magic.
It's super fun.
So anything you guys do, if you do clip art, you do little videos, you do hand drawings, you do digital art, whatever your art is, please.
Yeah, you can send it to, you can either send it or direct message it to at Marvel News PTN. You can also, I guess, send it to our Instagram.
There's also that email we have set up now.
Yes, we do have an email set up that we check all
yes,
the time.
Email's easier than Facebook somehow. So, and the email's on our Twitter, so send it there. Someone's actually making us a theme song they wrote for our show.
Awesome.
So any kind of art is more than welcome.
Yeah, and heard from our Facebook person that I'm sorry, our Facebook, the Facebook
use
was
Facebook.
the Facebook was originally set up for the show, and thanks to friends, they check in on it for us every now and again. It is not as active. Once we get our Patreon completely set up and running, then we'll be able to have someone do Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram, and it'll be great.
I logged into Facebook to change my profile picture, and I had that 99 plus notifications, and I just ran away. Like I couldn't begin to die. I was just like, no.
We apologize, Facebook people.
But Twitter, we love you, and Instagram, we do what we can.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Twitter, we have some shout outs.
Yes, we do. We have Stephanie M. Jandro at Steph Amethyst, G. Hilly at Greg the Gamer, Eric Sabio at E. Sabio Sells, Florida, FL, Rita Perez at Rita, it might be Pyres 94, Mike Marchant at Mike Marchant, Christopher Letty at Vintage Viewport, Samir Wakanda Forever at Samir_T, Tao Den at Tao Den 19, Moral Purple at Moral Purple, Colt, hey Colt, at Colt Badeau, Bark at birds_, what are
Yes.
they?
Love that.
And then Bret Hart at Bret Hart. You just saw the fan art, and that was sent to us by Quinn.
Who's rocking out and has the same sort of wild hero's journey, but we haven't really seen that with teenage girls as often
And
as
Silk
teenage
as well.
boys.
Nice.
And you've got Silk, but also one of the things I loved about Spider-Girl, and when they brought her into her own Spider-Girl comic, was that she had a Spider-Girl Twitter account where she tweeted out her adventures and shout-outs.
I remember that. Yeah,
Right, and
that's
actually
fantastic.
made it real, so that when the
Yeah.
issue came out, her Twitter would like slowly, as if in real time, match the tweets
Brilliant
from
live.
the comic.
That is excellent.
It
That's
was
next
insane,
level.
and you could do that. Like I love Anya Corazon, so you'd have both teenage girl character, coming of age story, Latin, like that's
And
just hitting
social
a lot
media,
of
which is the world.
social media.
So that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and through her you could also meet the Spider Women, because all like both Jessica Drew and Julia Carpenter were influences on her life.
Yeah,
like you
and
could-
May Parker was as well. May Parker, that's
yeah.
Peter's daughter from the future who became Spider-Girl for a bit. They
Right.
all knew each other. They all had this girl group. And I personally love Jessica Drew when she has a kid. This most recent Spider-Woman where she
Yeah.
is a mother is one of the most powerful books I've ever read because it's moms don't get any love in comics
And see, that's-
mainstream comics.
And that's the thing. I would love to see if you bring in Jessica Drew. I'd love her to see someone who's already sort of done the hero
Yeah.
biz and now is a mom, but is still going to do it sort of part time in
Right.
between being a parent.
Because Sue
Like-
Storm and Jessica Drew to me are the moms of the Marvel.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to see like the origin of Jessica Drew and being like this single woman spy. Like I want to see mom Jessica Drew.
Yeah.
But Spider Girl's around.
So Spider-Woman,
Interesting.
sure, we'd love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the Spider ladies.
All the Spider ladies.
yeah.
All the Spider ladies.
And Ashley Houchins, at Ashley Houchins, what actor would you like to see join the MCU? Brian T is my answer for Namor! Exclamation point.
We could
So-
join.
I think, Alan, myself, Ben Foster.
Yeah. I
Oh,
want to
well,
play.
if we're doing that, then I choose Markia McCarty.
I mean, yeah, well,
I want to be a watcher.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to be Monica Rambeau.
There you go.
Either that or, well, no, she's already
But I'm
said
like the guy
so.
who's like not a watcher anymore. He's just kind of chilling out.
just there.
He's like,
at our
I know
store.
all your backstories. What's up?
Yeah, but
Fair. That's
but
fair.
for-
Rant.
But for
I'd
real-
be in the corner with my coffee mug,
You're
like,
Spider
oh,
Gwen, like you're just
I'm Gwenpool.
Yeah, you're
I'm
Gwenpool. You
Gwenpool.
just yes.
For realsies, I would like Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, I'd love that.
I would love for him to be somebody in it. It feels like we're getting Mark Hamill, so that one's bucket
Yeah,
list.
yep.
Bucket list down. Bill Murray would be cool.
It would be cool.
It'd be super cool. We already got Angela Bassett.
we got
So-
Tom Hardy. He's not in the MCU, but he's MCU adjacent.
Right, right.
Ben Foster, Nick Offerman as Jonah, or Nick Offerman as anyone.
There you go.
Jake
True,
Gyllenhaal as
true.
Moon Knight, or anyone. Thank you, live chat. I love that one because I use it whenever I can. Xeno Hour. What about you?
What about John Cena? Like, I know he's doing.
He was
other-
in Thor for not seeing for us.
Yeah.
It would have been great if he was in Ragnarok just as a
Yes,
human champion.
yes.
But Cena is
true.
doing more Hollywood work.
I'd be
definitely.
down for that. Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
could, just like Russell. Hey, we have Batista, and he's Drax.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
You know who I'd love as a Celestial? Russell Brand. The madness
Oh,
of Russell
God.
Brand. 'Cause he's so Kirby. He's already such a Kirby imagination character.
I'd love Stephanie Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine in some role in the MCU. Like she's a true talent. Like that one character she plays in Brooklyn Nine-Nine is brilliant. But if you see any of her comedy work elsewhere, like she is one of those people who can alter her voice and her cadence and her body language like that.
Yeah,
like
that's more-
she's fantastic.
those-
She could play so many roles.
A lot of picks for the internet, y'all.
Yeah.
And send us
Yeah.
yours. I love fan casting.
yeah, go ahead and YouTube comment us on that one.
One last question.
Sky Patterson at Sky P 1996. After Captain Marvel debuts in March 2019, what are the next female-led superhero films, and which one will be the most successful? Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, Valkyrie, Miss America, Kamala Khan, She-Hulk, Talisman, or the female Thor? I think he has that as examples. You know, it's so funny because I did a thing for Nerdist where I interviewed Tessa Thompson and asked her, because remember back when where she was like, oh yeah, I want I was like, oh, so you want to do like A-Force, or you
Yeah.
know, who do you
A-Force would
want?
be awesome.
I
Love
don't know,
that. I think
A-Force
that
would
might be
pretty
on the
cool.
slate.
You know, I really want them to do Singularity and do her right, because I think she's beautifully naive and she's beautifully powerful, and that'd be great. But I asked her for her lineup for her female led film, and she was like, wait, do you mean like comic book characters or like real life? I'm like, real life, because you just said that.
Yes.
And she named like everybody from Beyonce to like Michelle Obama, and there are others, and I want to be on her power team. It's on. I'll tweet it. I'll tweet it on. But yeah, I interviewed Tessa Thompson,
Yeah.
and she is a delight.
I think A-Force is inevitable. I really think it might be on their slate. I feel like that shot of all of them standing together, Kevin Feige's not going to ignore. Kevin Feige's been very outspoken about what we need for progress.
Right.
So I think that with those movies, that number of movies, it'd be silly not to have like your next team up go that direction. And I think we really need a Sorkin scripted She-Hulk. I would love a lawyer drama with She-Hulk so bad. I'd rather it be a show, but if you're worried about budgetary restraints, because She-Hulk needs to look great.
The team behind The Good Fight could put together an amazing She-Hulk. So
Yeah.
Good Fight being the spin-off of The Good Wife. Like,
Yeah,
that's a
great.
ridiculously good show.
Yeah.
I'd like
I'm ready for these
Shonda
things.
Rhimes to have a
Shonda
hand in that.
Rhimes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like her with because she's going to be going on with Netflix anyway, and Netflix
Yeah.
still technically has
corner.
Marvel into 2019, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
After
And we're
that.
overdue for She-Hulk. Angie
I
Harmon.
think Shonda Rhimes could like knock the park out.
So that was the question for the week. Some fan casting, some madness. Now, before we wrap, where can they find you guys on the internet? Starting Maria.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty. This is MARKEIA MCCARTY. You can also find me Mondays at Hyper RPG. I do a tragic horror RPG campaign. Our characters will die, but how do they live? And that's Mondays at 6 p.m. PST. Twitch.tv/hyperrpg. And also I'll be doing Collider Heroes more. So looking forward to doing that. That'll be Wednesdays in April. So, tune in there for me for everything Marvel and DC related. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You can find me on Twitter at Sizzler Kistler, SIZZLER KISTLER. Like I mentioned before, you can find me this weekend at WonderCon on What Makes a Villain Friday at 1 p.m. You can also find me at the Wayward Coffee House in Seattle, not the Wayward Cafe. That's a different place. Wayward Coffee House in Seattle on March 30th at 8 p.m. with author Kiri Callaghan. And I've got a new podcast coming out in a couple weeks called Storyologist. So check out the Twitter for updates on that.
Wow. All social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ. Also, plenty of places here at AfterBuzz, Popcorn Talk. But I most recently did my first reaction video for the Infinity War trailer, so feel free to check that out. I tweeted it on my Twitter, so just go ahead and follow.
To tweet it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So go ahead and just, look at it if you want.
And I'm Coy Jandreau. You can find me at CoyJandreau on Twitter and Instagram. On Instagram, I have my own show where I review everything from experiences to books to comics to movies to I'm rewatching Parks and Rec. Actually, I'm watching Parks and Rec 'cause I've never seen it, but I'm rewatching. I've never seen it in my life.
So
I'm
good.
rewatching season 3 because I've never seen
So
it.
good.
So it's incredible, and I'm experiencing that for the first time because I'm a Nick Offerman as an author fan. I didn't know the glory of Ron Swanson.
Yeah. There's a reference
And he's
to
a
Parks
furniture maker.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a reference to Parks and Rec in The Office in the episode.
Dude, I love it. And so that, and then I had my first reaction video with Infinity War as well. You can find it on my YouTube, which I'm trying to use more. And you can find me with Markia on Wednesdays at Heroes and Mondays until April. So the next few Mondays I'll be there, and then I'm switching over to Wednesdays. And you guys are amazing. So I'll be at WonderCon on Saturday. So if you see myself or Ellen, please come say hello. And you guys are fantastic. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.